Good afternoon, and welcome to Building Boston and Beyond. My name is Lydia Rivera, and I am your host. If you don't know, Building Boston and Beyond is a show that works to educate the community in what's going on in your area, whether it's a construction project, a new business, a new building going up, something that is going on in the community where members want to know and should know of what's going on in their area and how they can obviously educate themselves on community and being part of their community. Today's show focuses on businesses, but specifically women in business, which is very important. Today's guests are women who have started their own business for obviously a long, lengthy period of time. Another woman is an author of a children's book. With us today is Vicki Ajami of Communications Via Design, where she is going to talk about what she has done for 20 plus years in creating her business in communications. Welcome, Vicki.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming today.
Thanks for inviting me.
You're welcome. So I brought you on because I found your business very interesting. I know that you started it 20 plus years ago, and you do communications, but not like public relations, but a different type of communications to do with technology.
We utilize technology. Some of our clients are in the technology space, but for the most part, we're a brand and digital design company, and so what we create is real integrated solutions for our clients. We help them to build their brands and their businesses, and we do that by diving into their corporate culture, really understanding it extremely well, and then understanding their vision and values and communicating that, reflecting it back to their audiences so that they can achieve success.
Now, can we talk about some of your present day clients that you have?
Sure. Currently we're working with Brigham and Women's Hospital, Bay Cove Human Services, the Natick Center Cultural District, and Carmen Pompa Fund, the Brain Aneurysm Foundation. There's quite a few.
So that's interesting. Now what brought you, 22 years ago to start your own business? I think it's fascinating that you're still around, obviously.
Well,
it's difficult.
That's been the challenge, for sure. I'd have to say I don't know that it was a very calculated effort to begin with. It happened a bit organically in the beginning, but for the most part, I had gained a lot of experience after leaving college and living in Los Angeles for a while, and gathering up lots of experience to understand that I felt that my place was in the corporate communications and nonprofit world. I really enjoyed working with both constituents and helping them to achieve their goals. So, I'd say that that's where I knew my business would begin, and that's what we branched off doing, and so it's been an extremely satisfying ride.
Right. To educate some of our viewers, and also too to give them some maybe ideas if they're thinking of starting their own business. Is it like a rags to riches? Where did you start your business? Was it just you and a partner? How did this all?
Yeah, so it's always been myself, and I started it. I set myself up right here in the Seaport District in Boston, which was an area that I felt really close to. I have always been interested in building and contributing to economic impact, and I felt that in an up-and-coming, and of course this was over 20 years ago, in a neighborhood that was really in need of that type of development, felt like a perfect fit. So setting myself up there and branching out and really just building relationships with clients as opposed to going out and getting jobs. And that was the real, I'd have to say, I think that's really led to the longevity of a lot of our client relationships. So again, I started out with myself, pretty much just doing projects on my own and then bringing on people as needed. And then that grew into, hiring a staff of up to 10 people.
So now, present day, you have 10 people?
There are 6 as part of our core group. So we have a director of strategy, a director of technology. I am the creative director, a couple of designers, an office administrator, and a really wonderful network of all types of other professionals that we bring on in terms of writers, social media strategists, videographers, photographers, as needed on any particular project. It keeps us very streamlined.
That's exciting. Now, when I visited your office, you are now in the hottest location for a
Mm,
business
yeah.
down at the Seaport District.
It became that way, that's
Yeah.
for sure, and that's in the Innovation and Design building.
Yes.
And there are really exciting things happening in the building and around. And I'm also involved in a lot of committees and initiatives that are engaged in both the Fort Point and the Innovation District. So it's really nice to be embedded in the community that way.
Mm-hmm. Now, I read in your bio that in your businesses and the clients that you have, the food bank?
The Greater Boston Food Bank.
Now, what does that entail? I mean, that's a good feel, and I like to share that with our viewers.
Yeah, they're a terrific organization. I love supporting them wholeheartedly. They came to us quite a few years ago, and it was an interesting concept. They came to us and said, we want to be not just a charity, but a charitable business. Mm-hmm. And that's a whole shift in mindset. And that really allowed us a great challenge to redesign their identity, their brand identity. That meant their own brand identity guidelines and create all types of collateral, annual reports, mm-hmm. Both print and electronic, as well as sign displays and a number of just corporate collateral and departmental brochures. That really was a cohesive system for them, which they had never had previously.
Right, it feels like, well, from what I've read, you do have a mixed group of clients, meaning that you do the food bank and you have some nonprofits, but also too the public sector. Now you
Right.
have you work with MassDOT on
Correct.
the Fast 14.
Right.
Which real quickly our audience would know the Fast 14 is just accelerating bridge projects where we're demonstrating to the public that we can save money and push projects forward in a lesser time frame.
Yeah, it was a very aggressive initiative when they came to us, and there were 14 bridges that needed to be completely redone within 10 weeks. So it's aggressive timeline. So the website that we developed for them really helped to educate the public as to what was happening, alerts and detours and so forth. And we also created an interactive map so people could really hone into the area that they're most concerned about and really find out more detailed information about what was going on. And even after and they did meet the deadline, which was really incredible. And they kept the site up because afterwards people wanted to go back, and it contained technical information and also time-lapse videos so you could see what these projects look like from beginning to end.
No, you're right, and it's about branding because that's what you do. And the Fast 14, people know what the Fast 14 is and means. I think people more so in the public sector and in and around Boston, but it definitely worked to accelerate and help get the news out to the public that your tax dollars are being spent wisely.
That's
and
right.
There's just no wasted time and just overkill with the workforce.
Right. Well, it's interesting. Earlier you said that we have a diverse group of clients, and it spans everything from corporate to nonprofit. But it really is, the common thread is that we're building community, and each one of these companies or organizations in some way is informing the public. We're creating awareness, we're building community.
So let's talk about present day, some of your the clients right now today that you're working on. What's it like, satisfying client? What do you look for when you're looking for work? You need work. No one turns down work, because I too am a consultant as well. But there are some projects you take on, sometimes even regardless about how much money, but you just have a passion for it.
Yeah, it's we love the mission-driven work. It's really close to our hearts, and but I feel that we really connect with our clients regardless, and really what their goals are, and so we do feel a part of an extension of whichever client we might be working with at any given time. There's another organization, ARC, which is Art Resource Collaborative for Kids, that I'm personally working with, and they're a wonderful organization that are providing art programs to underserved children in the Boston school system who don't have exposure to art programs, but it really helps build leadership and civic responsibility and social justice. So it's really wonderful to see, and to see even the children growing from initiatives like this, because this changes lives.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Well, we're ready to wrap up, but I just wanted to tell you that I'm very grateful that you had the time to come on the show.
Thank you.
And
I'm
I know
honored.
that you and I are going to be trying to work together on some
I hope
projects
so. I
and
hope so.
collaborate and work together.
Wonderful.
And thank you so much for coming on.
You're very welcome.
Please join us in a few minutes with our next guest, Paula Gerard, a children's book author.
Welcome to Understood.org, a free online resource for parents of kids with learning and attention issues, with personalized recommendations, tools, and daily access to experts to help your child thrive. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Welcome back. Continuing with today's show, Building Boston and Beyond, and women in business, women entrepreneurs, and women that just pursue their business, their dream in business. With us today is a children's book author, Paula Gerard. Paula has a unique story I find interesting. She worked in the legal field, raised a family, but always had in the back of the head that she wanted to pen a children's book. And she started, sometimes life happens, moved from it, and then returned, and now has finished a book, published the book. The book has, she's done readings at local establishments and book signings, and the selling of the book is flourishing, and she is on her second book, but let's have her talk more about that. Welcome so much. Welcome so much for coming.
Thank you for having me today.
So let's just talk about your background. As I mentioned, you do come from the legal field. You were born in Boston. What brought you to become an author?
Well, I get together with a group of girls from high school and we plan reunions. And at the end of each meeting, I would put together an email newsletter type of thing to kind of recap what was going on. And they used to tell me I was an eloquent writer. And one of them supported me and said, you should really think of writing in, children's books, especially because when my kids were little, some nights I wouldn't read to them, I would make up stories, and they enjoyed my stories, and that's kind of how this became about. So It was like a push from family and friends to become a writer.
So let's get to the good stuff. So what is the name of your book, the first book? And
The first book is MaryLou Found a Really Big Shoe. And it's about a little girl who's out playing. She finds a really big shoe in the grass. She climbs up inside the shoe lifts up and starts to fly. The shoe takes her on an adventure all over the world, and she visits countries and landmarks. So it teaches kids about geography, multiculturalism, and things like that. And the kids really enjoy it because the illustrations are vibrant and it just holds their attention.
so for our viewers, when you write a book, so one day you're like, okay, I'm going to start to just draw an outline for the book and start to write. Now, what was the process? How long did this take you?
Okay, I wrote the story about 9 years ago. The story itself took probably a few months to write. I had sent it out to different publish companies, and it was there was another story also submitted prior to that called Ode to Rose. That was never picked up by a publishing house. When I wrote MaryLou, I submitted both manuscripts, and I got an email back from Tate Publishing in Oklahoma accepting MaryLou. So, like I said, I wrote the story 9 years ago. It was sitting on a desk, and then my husband asked me, what do you want to do with these stories? Do you want to pursue them? And this was a few years ago. And I said, I don't know. And he said, I think they're really good stories. I think you should submit them. So I did, and like I said, Tate Publishing picked up MaryLou and decided to publish it.
So today, you've done some book signings.
I have, yep. I've done local book signings. The community, I live in Dorchester. The community has been amazing, very supportive. Local businesses, libraries, schools have invited me to read. I've been to a few of the Boston public schools. So, it's been quite a journey. It really has. It's like a dream come true.
Right, right. So when we were talking prior to the show, you were on your second book now? Now, what's that book about?
The second book is called Eva Irene, Please Keep Your Room Clean. It's about a little girl, Eva Irene, who, is very messy, and her siblings teach her how to clean her room because she's always getting in trouble for having a messy room. But both stories rhyme, they flow, I think because it's sort of like sing-songy, and it keeps the attention of the young ones.
So, I mean, I think this is just such a good story, and I'm so happy you came on the show because I think it just shows, even to our audience, that you can pursue your dreams at any time in your life. I mean, you had to prioritize, you had to work, you had to raise your family, and then now's the time the children are older, and here you are.
Right. Yeah, like I said, you just put your mind to it and do it. Don't give up. Just keep writing, and I enjoy it. It's almost therapeutic to sit there and write a children's story, and and hopefully I'll have more books after Eva Irene.
Right, right. Now, when you talk about publishing, can we talk a little about that? Sometimes that can be a challenge because you need to pick the right publisher, or as you said, when you had the first book, it wasn't picked up, but the second was. So those can be disappointments that may affect you, but you really need to just obviously persevere and continue on.
Yes, you have to pursue your dream. Like I said, I never thought when I was submitting both manuscripts, but someone had said to me who had published children's books before, said if you submit 2 manuscripts, sometimes they will bite on one of them, opposed to just submitting 1 manuscript and they reject it and that's the end of it. So, like I said, I just started writing again and came up with the title first, where Ode to Rose was written, the story was written, and I named the story after. But MaryLou, that was actually, it popped in my head. I wrote it down actually on a paper towel and, just kept jotting things down. What rhymes with MaryLou? What did MaryLou do? MaryLou found a really big shoe. And then the story came after the title.
Okay, so on the, it's just funny, MaryLou found a really big shoe. So the second book, we talked about it, that's after your mother?
The second book is after my mom, yep. And anyone who knows my mom or knew my mom, she was a very neat person. So the fact that Eva Irene, please keep your room clean, that she's messy, it's funny. But it's a cute little story, and I think the kids will enjoy it. And I think a lot of kids will be able to relate to Eva Irene for having a messy room. And constantly
so I feel like you're educating them as well, the children, in your books.
Yeah.
So that's kind of twofold, your messaging. Is obviously, getting the message out of having a book to make people smile, but also, too, it's teaching, obviously, lessons to your family.
Yeah.
So right now, the stage of the second book, where is that?
That is in production as we speak. We just created all the characters, what they look like, and it's, we just finished editing the characters, and now, like I said, it's in production, and I'm hoping it will be out in early spring.
Okay. Early spring. And right now, if for our viewers, where can they find your book?
They can contact me, my email, mpmp38@comcast.net. I can be reached by cell phone, 617-943-2049. And I'm also on Facebook. People are welcome to inbox me. I have paperback copies and hardback copies.
Okay, excellent. Now, so you're in your second book. Are you already thinking now about the third book? How does it work in your world?
Well, I wanted to write a sequel to MaryLou because I left MaryLou open-ended, that it could go into another book. And I actually started writing a sequel to MaryLou, but I dropped it, and I started writing Eva Irene. And Eva Irene was done rather quickly, so my goal is to go back and do the sequel to MaryLou, and hopefully that'll be book number 3 that I publish.
Right, and when you do the books, is there research involved?
No.
As far as, it's just everyday life
experiences? It's just everyday life, just writing things that I've experienced, things, that a child could relate to.
Excellent. And now with your family, and obviously they're very supportive.
Oh
And-
yeah,
and-
my family's
and you-
been amazing through the whole process, really. Friends, family, I've been very fortunate. And like I mentioned earlier, the community's been wonderful.
Right, because you have been out in the community, and as you said, the schools.
Yeah.
And that is very important. It's more, of, as I said earlier, an educational process.
It is, and it's fun. And I love reading to the kids. I love seeing their reactions. And they have a lot of questions at the end of each reading, and, which tells me they're very interested in the story. So, it's just been amazing.
Right, so again, it's just back to one of my major reasons having you on is just talk about just pursuing your goals and achieving them. And I clearly think that you have done that, and you are clearly on your way.
Yeah.
I mean, what advice would you give our viewers if they were pursuing some type of, I guess, new business, becoming a writer, or just anything that takes them away from the norm?
I would say just stay focused, stay with it, don't give up, just pursue your dream, and, just keep going forward with it.
Right, and you have siblings too, so do you think you might write about your brother or your sisters? Or?
I might. A friend of mine suggested write about the kids in the neighborhood. We have a very close-knit neighborhood where I live, and the kids have been friends forever. And someone has suggested writing about, my kids and their friends and how they grew up. And so that could be a possibility too.
Now let's go back. There is one thing I want to mention now that you brought up your neighborhood. You live on Glide Street. Now, isn't there something about Glide Street years ago? Glide Street in Dorchester was voted the #1 street in the country.
#1 street in the city to live for children. It's a very close-knit neighborhood. There's a ton of kids, and they all play together. And at any given moment, someone could knock on my door and say, "We're trying to get a street hockey game together," and it happens. And there's just kids everywhere, and everyone's just very good to each other. It's, we're very fortunate.
That's great. Well, I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
And again, we'll be looking forward to reading your second book. And our viewers can contact Paula at her website and phone number located on the screen behind me. And thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And good luck, and join us next month. Thank you.